folks. Well, today we find ourselves hiking up this old road in the mountains of Vermont, which clearly hasn't been used in a long time, except for probably four-wheelers and off-road trucks. But the folks who invited me out here today, whose property this is, told me that within living memory, I think they said their grandmother or great-grandmother actually used to use this road to get over the mountain on a horse-drawn buggy, which seems like something that happened hundreds of years ago, but clearly not that long for some people. So we're out here today to do some metal detecting. They said that there was this old stone foundation up here along the road somewhere, and you know, they have some family stories about this place, and they also went to the local historical society and were able to pull a name for the person who lived here, and I was able to confirm that on an old map that I have. It was just a home, but just a little interesting detail about this place is that there was no man's name associated with it. It was a woman's name, which is not something I've seen before on these old maps. According to the landowner, they said it was just her and probably a couple of her sisters. I'm not sure we're necessarily going to be able to get to the bottom of why that is, or what happened, or what her story is, but I'm interested to see what we might find today. I think we've just got a little ways left to go up this trail, and should be right up here. Made it. This is just a gorgeous place. It's still relatively open. You know, we've got a stone wall here enclosing this whole area. I can hear a brook trickling off in the distance. Would have been a beautiful place to live. So from what I've been told, they lived here until the early 1900s. And in my experience metal detecting a place like this, you know, if folks lived here into the Industrial Revolution, we tend to find a lot more trash, what could be considered trash. You know, nondescript sheet metal, cans, things that are going to make it hard to find really interesting things, but we're going to do our best, try to sift through that and see what we can find here. Well, I just found what I think is the bottom half of like a container of some kind. I thought at first it was going to be like a sardine can. It's all very rounded on the edges, and it seems to be fairly well made. You see right here, there's a couple holes. Is that string? Yeah, there was string for what was probably the lid. Is there anything in here? Doesn't look like it. I think that the wood that we're seeing here is after the fact. Maybe it was originally in there. Yeah, you know what? I bet it was, to reinforce the hinge. Your guess is as good as mine. A little container for something. I already looked for the lid. Couldn't find it. Maybe we'll find it elsewhere today. That's pretty cool. Makes you wonder what they were keeping in this thing. Not a pile of gold coins in here, but the box itself is pretty nice. Let's see what else we can find. You hear that woodpecker up off in the distance there? Looking for some bugs. Well, I just found something that is something I've found a lot of in the past, but not something I found in a long time at all these colonial sites that I've had the opportunity to metal detect. This is very common at these kind of mid-1800 sites. Check it out. This is a nearly intact harmonica. The holes for the notes where you breathe in, the holes for the notes when you breathe out. Most often we find just one of these reeds. Technically, I guess this is a reed plate, and the little thing that's covering this hole usually is a reed, but there would have been another stack of wood here. That's what it is, harmonica. Again, kind of 1850 to 1870, I would guess. Harmonica started to become really, really popular, easy to play. You'd think back then there was no iTunes, so if you wanted to hear music, you had to make it yourself. Awesome. Let's keep going here. Well, I believe we have our first coin here for the day, and you know, it was a pretty good target, and I did not get my camera out to film the digging of it because it was just so shallow. The machine said it was like less than an inch down, and it was very, very loud, so I thought that either it was going to be something modern or something large that would throw a big target. But you know, I stuck the shovel in, pulled a little bit of a plug out, and it was sitting on this rock. So whenever it was dropped, it couldn't sink very deep. It hit the rock and stopped and sat there for however long it's been in the ground. Let's see. Let me get my toothbrush and give it a wipe. Well, it is a Lincoln wheat cent. So this could be as early as 1909. I was told they were up here until the early 1900s, so I would suspect this was dropped right towards the end there. You know what? We've been used to finding coins from the 1700s and large cents, and this is still a piece of history. All right, hey, let's see if we can find some more. Maybe something a little bit older. All right, we just got a interesting little find here, and you know, I'm not entirely sure, but you can see it's in a shape of a ring, and you know, the mind immediately goes to jewelry. You know, this is about the right size for a finger, and it is brass, and it looks like it may have had a plating on there. I've personally found several wedding bands, which don't really look like this. They're thicker, look like a wedding band, that were brass and plated gold, but had 14K in the center, as if it were gold. And from my research, I've found that it's unsure whether the farmers and the mountain folks out here actually knew it was brass, or if they were being fooled by somebody down in town. Hard to say. This one doesn't say anything. Could very well be a gasket, but I thought that was an interesting piece of history. Let's call it a ring for now. See what else we can find. You know, as I'm out here detecting, my mind wanders, and I'm just trying to rack my brain about why these ladies may have been out here all by themselves. And you know, according to the landowners, folks were living here during the time of the Civil War, and if I remember correctly, about 35,000 Vermonters were sent to participate in the Civil War. It's very likely that, you know, her husband just didn't come home. That's probably something that would be easily researchable, but I was just told the story this morning, so I don't know, it's just something to think about. That could be completely off base. Time periods match up. Something to think about. Haven't found any military items, but I suppose if, you know, he didn't come home, we wouldn't find any of that anyways. Let's keep going. See what else we can find. Okay, so I just found something at first I thought was a bell. The brass is far too thin to be a bell. And things that come to mind is an oil lamp piece, a part of an oil lamp. But what I'm pretty sure it is a candle snuffer. You know, it would have been on like a stick, set it down over the top of their lamps that they had back in those days, and out they go. I'm fairly certain that that's what it is. It's not a bell. It wouldn't have rung. Pretty cool. Alright, and it's not even, what is it? Not even 5 feet away from that potential candle snuffer. Look at that. We got the candle. Well, it's a lamp. An old oil lamp. And what's great about this one in particular is that it still has the spinner. Look at that, it still spins. This would have brought the wick up and down. You could make it brighter or dimmer to conserve your fuel. And this spinner, it looks like it has some writing on it, so maybe we can get a patent date. Alright, well there's something on there, I'm not sure. Typically there'll be a brand name, usually a patent date, but if there isn't one, we can just look up who made the thing and see when they're in business. Really, really cool. Sometimes we'll actually find just these, you know, it reads up as a coin, you get it out and there's a hole in it. What the heck is this thing? But that's what it is. We find these fairly often, you know, they were pretty common. Mid-1800s. Okay, see what else we can find. Alright, well I've said in the past, you know, I find these things, and no matter what I call it, I always get corrected in the comments whether it's a suspender clip or it's a garter clip. and because they look so similar, they're it's just a size difference. But I just found one, and it's funny, I looked at the back, I'm like, oh, got a suspender clip. But I flipped it over. Look at that. That's a butterfly. Pretty one too. I've never really found one with an image before. Usually it's just kind of a scroll work, but this is a pretty little butterfly. That's awesome. You know, it's always interesting metal detecting places from like 100 or 150 years ago, because the variety of things that you find is just so much more that at these colonial sites I've been at lately. Really beautiful. See if maybe we can find the other one. All right, well, I wasn't expecting this at all. This is a very, very pleasant surprise. You know, after that wheat scent, I wasn't really sure what we were going to find out here for more coins. But this was just a very, very scratchy target. I'm like right next to the cellar. Pulled it out, and I'll show you what I saw. You see that? That is the rim of a silver quarter. Now, you know, because of that wheat penny, it could be a Washington quarter. I don't know yet. We'll find out together. It's definitely not a Washington. Oh, sweet. 1897. That's a barber quarter. All right, let's spray it with some water. Hopefully I didn't scratch it too bad when I dug it out. There's a lot of rocks here. Wow, look how beautiful that cleaned up. 1897, the face looks good. I did scratch it. That's the price we pay for digging in the woods. That's okay. I don't think it's actually too bad. It doesn't look like my shovel did that. It was probably hit a rock or something on the way out of the hole. Doesn't silver clean up beautifully? You know, silver and gold don't deteriorate in the ground like copper coins do, so I've been finding a lot of unidentifiable copper coins lately. This is a nice departure from that. All right, let's see if we can find some more of these. Keep on moving here. So as I'm out here wandering around detecting, you know, I'm reminded of a lot of these comments that I get on the videos, people asking why the people who lived at these places lived so far out in the wilderness. I tend to forget to mention it, but you have to imagine this road that this home was on was well traveled. You know, both sides of the road were likely cleared. You know, there wasn't a forest here. There would have been travelers and farming done, and this was a community. Now, you know, nature has taken it back and it's returned to wilderness, but when folks were living here, it didn't look like this. Most of the places that I do the metal detecting where it seems like I'm in the middle of nowhere, back then it was somewhere, you know. Anyway, we're gonna do some loops around the outside of this kind of stone perimeter so we can find a few things that maybe have been dropped in the fields. Alright, well, I just found something which I don't know what it is. I've got quite a bit of experience metal detecting homes of this age. There's quite a few cellars like this on some of my family's land. So that's what I kind of started out doing. And you know, we've found the harmonica reeds, we found the candle snuffers, we found the oil lamps. But this thing, God, I'm stumped. It has a hole in it as if it was a pendant. Look at that, it's got like a little leaf ornamentation on there and a little glass bead. And then there's what looked like there would have been a hinge down here. Is it a pendant? Is it hinge for a small box? This is something new to me. I mean, it's very decorated. I've got lots of scroll work on there. The leaf and a little bead. Beautiful. All right, well, hey, maybe we'll keep going here and see if we can find the rest of it, solve this mystery. Well, did we do it? I just found these fragments here. Look at that. It's like a very thin, let's see, silver plated probably thing, little decoration. And I was thinking, does this go to that other similar thing I found earlier? And I got it out, and I don't think so. This has like hearts on it, and this has leaves on it. They're not quite the right size. This is quite a bit more heavy than this is. Your guess is as good as mine. But it's pretty. Let's keep on going. Alright, this is a weird one. I just dug what I thought was going to be like a bangle. See that? Like a bracelet of some kind. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's all bent up. It's super hard. And I rechecked the hole, and there's still something down in there. And check it out. I just got another one. They sound like lead or something. It's a strange material. And I checked the hole again, and there's still something down there. Look, can you see this? Look. Another one. And there's I don't know what this is. This is just an enormous, complex machine of some kind. I don't know what this is. Whatever this is. Alright, let me clean the hole out, get all the pieces, and we'll see if we can assemble it. Alright, well, I think we have all of it now. I did find a couple more fragments of what appears to be the side, and I found these 3 pieces, which, again, this thing has 3 sides, so I suspect they went to the sides. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it has 3 of everything here. 3 of these rings, 3 of these butterfly pieces. You let me know what you think. I'm going to try to figure it out on my own before I post the video, but it's a weird one. What do you say? On that note, maybe we should pick up and get out of here. Let's gather our stuff up and see what we found today. Alright, well, we're going to pack up and start hiking on out of here. We've got a road to walk, though, which is going to be a lot nicer than when I'm usually walking. We did pretty good today, and the finds were very feminine, which makes a lot of sense. I found a couple coins as well. Overall, really good day. Let's take a look at it all. Alright, here's everything that we found today, minus the dozens and dozens of shotgun shells that I found today. This thing in the way back, your guess is as good as mine. If I had to guess, I would say something to do with the kitchen or fire because of the way this handle is designed. I feel like you could hang on to this if this was very hot. But this stuff, man, I don't know. It's a peculiar thing. Not sure. Bottom piece to a container. Did not find the top. We found 3 lamp pieces, all slightly different, and a snuffer to go along with it. 2 harmonica reeds. Both of them are complete, aside from the wood. Kind of cool. Maybe the ladies were out here, playing songs in the evening. A bunch of utensils here. We have 3.5 spoons. Pocket watch, little brass horse tack buckle. We did find another little piece of ladies' underwear here to go along with our ladies' suspender clasp, which is beautiful, the little butterfly on there. I only found 1 button today, and it was this big Tomback coat button, which I thought when I saw it was silver. Then I was very surprised again when that silver coin came out. 1897 barber quarter, and then we also have a dateless, probably early wheat penny. This, it could or could not be a ring, probably not a wedding band, but it is a brass finger-sized ring. It's too small for my fingers. Overall, a lot of really cool artifacts that make a lot of sense for where we found them and the time period that this place was supposed to be here. So I want to thank you again for watching, and I'm excited to show this to the landowners, and they'll probably then show the Historical Society, and we can connect a couple dots. Exciting stuff. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next Friday for another new video.